I have to change my microphone. Okay, there we go. So let's get started. Hi, everyone. I hope everybody's having a wonderful day today, taking care of themselves and staying safe in this current scenario that we're all living in. I hope everybody is doing well. So today we're going to do another discourse, diving deeper into aspects of life that is not usually touched upon, is not usually questioned, is not usually um, you know it's not, you can't read about it, you cannot know about it, it's not as widely known as we kind of just follow the norm. We follow what other people are saying, and as a result we form beliefs, values, as per the society, as per how um, the people and um, what their thoughts are, what how their mind works. We tend to have the same mind. How their beliefs are, we tend to have the same beliefs, and as a result, we never question, we never try and understand deeply what the truth about everything is. So today we're going to learn, we're going to understand who is God. It's quite a sensitive topic because it does touch a lot of dimensions, it touches a lot of beliefs um, that people have formed. And as a result, if we try and question the beliefs, there is usually a big barrier, a big shield that you know um, people form, um, and then it's very hard uh, for them to break through that shield, or for the other person who's teaching them to break the shield and to really go beyond um, the beliefs. So we'll slowly understand and deeply introspect who is God. We often refer to the term on almost on a constant basis. The atheists also refer to this term. Everybody refers to the term of God, or the term a higher power, nature, higher intelligence, Bhagwan, all the terms that are used for God. And in fact, humans have made their own gods. We can see in the shape of gurus, etc. And slowly, that has evolved, and we've kind of made um, people or humans as God. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong in anything again. There's nothing wrong in anything. That's the thing we have to understand. It's just about seeing the truth. Because if you see the truth, then um, there is no way to really question anything. Because once you know the truth, once the truth is revealed to you through questioning, then the truth cannot be questioned. The very fact, it's like, you can't question that the world is round. It is round, we know that through science. So, but there are so many things that haven't been discovered by science, and as a result, it cannot be proven, or it cannot be shown in experience, and as a result, um, the things that are actually not proven are formed as beliefs. And so slowly those beliefs get stronger and stronger by age, um, and by generation. And then when there's a time where things start getting delusional, people don't know what they're talking about. People talk about things which don't seem to connect or don't seem to understand. Then that is kind of a generation, that is kind of a stage where rituals um, or actions or prayers, everything kind of falls apart because there is no very um, backing evidence for people who are especially in this generation. We have kids growing up who don't really believe in a higher power, who don't really believe, again, we're using the word belief, but hopefully, when you come to this session, end of the session, hopefully, it's just a starting. So you will know God, hopefully, and as a result, you will be able to, there won't be any belief around it because you just know it is what it is. You won't argue around it. You won't say that this is my God. You won't, do the things that a normal society does and what society is like fighting about, or, all the things, the wars, etc., around religion, whatever is happening, it won't happen because there will be a level of clarity. And for us to know that, it's kind of, we are also sometimes scared, whether we um, want this clarity or not, you know. So what happens is we constantly we have beliefs, and as a result, those beliefs block us from understanding the reality. When the reality is not true, is not revealed, we stay in our own mind and we do what the society does, is, fight over religion or whatever. So, firstly, we're going to know, firstly, through an open mind, we're going to understand um, who is God, and again, there is no right or wrong. We will know the truth. So that we will go beyond the right and wrong. That's what we're trying to do here. I'll start off by asking people. So we have three people who have come. So, you can share if you want. I'll pause the recording. If you want, I can pause it, or should I just leave it on and then you guys can speak if you want. Um, but if you want me to pause the recording, I will pause the recording. It's completely fine. And yeah, you guys can, that's my question to you. Who is God according to you? Or maybe you can talk a little bit about God. Um, so we have in the chat box, God is energy. You can, in fact, that's a good way. Yeah, you can write it down in the chat box if you wish. It's going to be, yeah, you don't have to speak as well. Enlightened being. Mhm. So very, very good interpretations of God. Um, and yeah, um, I would like to know from everybody, everybody's who is here, who is God, um, in terms of your beliefs or your understanding or your knowledge, or your wisdom that you have gathered since the ages. Who is God? Who is God according to you? Um, can we see God? Can we experience God? Can we know God? Is it possible to connect with God? Or now, this is again that usually comes from a belief system, but we'll really try and understand. I will share my journey of how I understood God. I'll do that in fact first. So, what happened was, um, usually I have been my whole life, it's been kind of on a path of discovery, questioning everything, following no one, yet learning from everybody. That's something. And continuously, introspecting, experiencing the knowledge that I receive from books, from people, from, experiences of my own. So my earliest stages of my life, I used to be very devoted. Usually, I like when I was around um, in my early up till the age of 10, you can say. I was completely dwelled, and I used to love God in terms of love the statues. In Hinduism, we have murtis or statues, and then we pray to the statues. And I was very devotional. I used to go to you know, mandirs and temples, and I used to pray, and I used to, um, change the clothes of, God, and watch videos, and everything was big. There was a lot of freedom, especially in New Zealand, and in India there was also a lot of freedom. But when I turned around six, my whole family we shifted to New Zealand. But before that, and when I came to New Zealand, I was enrolled in a Hare Krishna school. Um, just because of that love for God, and my parents knew that, and I knew that, and I really enjoyed that. And then slowly, I didn't really know what I was doing. Like when I was around the age of six, my grandparents used to tell me that, I really get attached to God. I am, all the murtis that I see, I like to touch them, and I like to stay in temples like the entire day. And my grandparents used to tell me all the stories, and I used to, you know, and yet I don't really remember the things or remember the glimpses. I do remember there are glimpses in my mind, but I don't remember exactly how I was. They tell me that I used to, repeat the Hanuman Chalisa and so on. I still remember the Hanuman Chalisa, but I was very religious. You can say that. So I was very religious, and then slowly, what happened was, I kind of transcended from that. The transcendence came from going a little bit deeper through questioning. What am I doing? Is God really there? So my first kind of starting was, is God really true? Who is God? And a lot of people are scared to ask this question because what will the society say? There was a 2 month, I remember there was a 2 month period time when I was, it's around 15 or 16, there was a 2 month phase of my life where I didn't believe in God, where I just questioned it, that who is God? And if God is there, why can't we experience God? You know, if God resides in everybody, why isn't, why is something bad happening in the world? Um, and all these questions led me to a deeper understanding. And then, I did some meditations that few I wouldn't say the names of the foundations, but few foundations kind of taught those meditations that you meditate, you see yourself going into the universe or into the sky, and you take your atma, you see a point of light here, and you take your atma. And I was completely dwelled. I practiced a meditation for around 1 or 2 years. And you see your atma, it's going into the universe, into the sky. And then I questioned that as well. I was like, it just sounds very superficial. It just sounds like an imagination process that we're doing. It's not that we're really connecting with God. It's just that our mind is creating the imagination. There's a point of light, we are transcending, and as a result, we see the entire, we go into the cosmos through imagination. Uh, and I questioned that, and I was like, there was no good foundation to that, so I left it. It didn't feel right, what I was doing, because it wasn't the truth. Someone just planted a knowledge into me, and I was acting accordingly. You know, yes, everything happens from knowledge, but one should not be a robot. You know, one should really understand things at a level where they know it, that they don't have to believe in anything. You know, it was when I used to that imagination process, I used to think to myself, some days my imagination is very strong, whereas some other days it's not. So does that mean that I'm not connecting to God on those days? Is God really in some sky or the universe? Do we really need our imagination to connect with God? Because imagine if there is no imagination, we like if imagination doesn't exist, can we still connect with God? That was my main question, you know? And if like I knew somewhere deep down that this is a whole superficial thing, that it's not actually true. Because if we are humans, if we are a child of God, or if we are um, a child of God is again is a belief. If we are a part of God. If we are a part of God, then we should connect to our Father straight away. We should connect straight away. They should be right in front of us. We shouldn't have to imagine something to reach some place so that we can see our Father, you know, or Mother, or um, that which gives us birth, or the energy, you know. So the main thing was that we shouldn't involve our mind to see God. That was the whole entire thing. So that I knew deep down that shouldn't be done. The mind and the body both are going to change over time. Both are a result of our experiences, our past knowledge, and so on and so on, you know. And when that changes, everything changes. But what stays, if God is true, then it should stay forever. It shouldn't change, you know. So that kind of led me on to further understanding, further deepening, further practicing other things, which then turned out to be, again, all the things that gurus or all the things that people are teaching, the path to enlightenment, or the how-to process to reach to God, or the how-to process to a step-by-step process to moksha. Everything I tried what I could because there was a deep longing for me to really know God. I wanted to know, this whole entire world is, the religions are based around it. I want to know the truth. Who is God? And then what happened was I left everything because nothing really helped me, you know. And then I really, I never give up though because I knew that I am a child of God. Again, that is a belief. So I should connect to the one that gave me birth without any person, without any experience, without any mind or body. And then from that came the truth. From that came the revelation, which further deepened over time through Upanishads, through listening to people again. Um, so you kind of attract the things at the right time in the right space when you ask a question. So, who is God? You know, um, does God really reside in in the universe or in heaven, or is there heaven or hell? All these questions. I'll try and sum it down. I'll try and put it to one point. See, whatever is not in our experience, it shouldn't be true. It's not true. That's the truth. Everything that cannot be in our experience cannot be, it's not simply true, it's just a belief. So the whole idea of Vedanta, the whole idea of living as a human being is to first question every belief, and then once you find the answer, to experience that answer so that it becomes the truth for you. So yes, God can be experienced, but are you ready to experience God? you know are you ready to experience the very power that resides nowhere but inside you? you know so the reality is that we're constantly looking outside for God. We're looking for God in, again, statues, and there's nothing wrong in anything. Again, nothing wrong in anything. I'm just saying, we're looking for God in statues. First I want to really understand, why do we need God? That's also another big revelation. So I'll say that you can experience God. God is true, but how can we do that? We'll reveal that in this discourse. But the first thing is, why do we actually need God? You know, we as humans, working from a body and mind level, we think that we are incomplete, and from that very desire, we have we have a seeking for something. We want something from God, and that's why God exists. That's the whole idea that society has based. It's created textbooks, scriptures, so on and so on, to, yes, to understand God. But why do we have to understand God? You know, why do we have to understand God? Does God really matter, or is it just something to fulfill our needs? You know, we often every action again. Now coming back a little bit, I want to touch on one point. You know, um, touch on one big point that all the scriptures that have been written, the religious scriptures, The biggest reason why they definitely help. They definitely help to some extent, but they have been written by humans. Humans have a mind which is, again, limited. My mind is limited. Everybody else's mind is limited. You know, the limitations of the mind creates the books, not God creating the books. Krishna never read the Bhagavad Gita or never wrote the Bhagavad Gita. A human interpreted what Krishna said and then wrote the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna himself didn't write the Bhagavad Gita. We live in this illusion that Jesus wrote the Bible. He didn't read, even Muhammad, he didn't write the Quran, you know, nor did they create any religion. Buddha never used Buddhism to get enlightened. Jesus never used Christianity to get enlightened. They were just enlightened because they saw everything as it is. Everything as it is. They had emotions. Krishna got angry on the battlefield. He lived in this material world, right? He lived in this material world and he operated from this material, yet he was above all because he was enlightened. Nothing affected him because he knew, that nothing can affect him, you know. So whether it's death or birth, nothing can actually affect anyone. We think it affects us because we live from this body and mind, and from which, we have desires and we have certain gods who fulfill those desires. Specific gods fulfill specific desires. When we can't find answers in one religion, we switch to another religion to find an answer. When we can't find an answer in one guru, we switch to another guru to get the answer. When the reality is, all the answers are actually already within you. You just have to ask the question. You know, we are afraid of asking questions because we have never been taught, or whenever we ask a question, society, teachers, gurus, people try and suppress those questions. You know, we can never think, we are never taught to think like a child. You know, a child wants his mother or father to stay with him forever. When a child is born, you know, he or she can experience his mother or father straight away, you know. And if that's true, then without anything, we should be able to experience God if God is our creator, you know. So the first reason is understanding why we create God. Why have we created God? We have created God. That is the fact. No one really knows God because everybody's everybody's mind is from that one belief system that this is God, from this particular religion and so on. You know, why is God? Why is God even important? You know, the only reason why actually God exists in the physical realm, in the mental realm for humans is because we have needs that needs to be fulfilled and we pray to God for those needs. Imagine if our desires and needs were fulfilled. Just imagine, you know, if we have everything we need. Would we ever need God? If we never had anxiety, if we never had stress, if we never had fears, if we never thought in the future or the past, if we lived in this moment, would we ever need God? Would we ever pray to God? Would we ever say that this needs to be fixed? You know, the answer is no. So that simply shows that now this is where this is why where we understand everything, step by step, everything we understand. Firstly, why is there God? If there is no importance, then this is a difference between living as an enlightened being and living as a believer who continuously argues, who continuously has belief systems that have been formed like a foundation that cannot be removed. When you question them, they almost try and, fight back and so on. They get angry because they think that their belief system they are. But when you're an enlightened being, nothing matters. When you get enlightened, and you are already enlightened, it's just that you don't know. Again, all the two discourses that we discussed, you are already enlightened. It's just that you don't know. When you become aware that you are enlightened, not when you become enlightened, when you become aware that you are enlightened, you realize that everything is perfect. This whole entire universe is perfect. Everything is happening at the right time, in the right space, and as a result, there is no requirement for anything to change. There is no desire, right? Where there is no desire, there is no need. When there is no need, you know, you don't have to do anything, you know. So now again, now we're kind of understanding that from a spiritual level, or from the level of the Atman, the consciousness, the energy. Yes, at the bodily level, at the level of the mind, there are problems that exist in everybody's lives. But the truth is, they are all an illusion because they are constantly changing. That which is not, that which doesn't change is not real. Sorry, that which changes is not real. Everything that changes is not real. Our mind, our body, it changes. So as a result, it's not real. What doesn't change is real. Our gods change, our gurus change, everything changes. But what stays is you. And kind of coming back to the analogy of water, that if you are a wave, if you are a wave, then your whole foundation is water. There's nothing else, you know? So that there is no difference between any water, you know? There's no difference between water itself. The wave that is happening is the water, and the water is the wave. And as a result, that which is the I, not the body, not the mind, the I, that which is the I, which sustains, which doesn't die or is born, which cannot be destroyed, if that is within me, within this body, it's in every single living being. There is no difference between anything and anyone. And there is no difference between so-called God and you. Because water has no difference. If you are water, for example, the light bulb that is in my, you know, um, or you can say, we're just using the analogy of water. You can also use the analogy of the light. So, the light bulb that is the energy that is getting transmitted through the light bulb in my house. It's not different to the energy that is getting transmitted in your house that has a light. The light, the source is the same. It's water from which energy is created, or wind from which energy. All the elements. Now, here we're going into the deeper. Even in Ayurveda, it is said that every single element that is created, and the foundation is the sound, the vibration of Om. The vibration, we vibrate at Om. We Now I will show you how you can experience it. Everything that will stay in this universe is nothing but Om. We, from the sounds of Om, vibrations are created. From that vibration, space is created. From the space, air is created. From the friction of the air, fire is created. And from fire, earth, and water are created. This is a context of Ayurveda. Ayurveda also sees that the vibrations create the self. So we're trying to understand the creator. But first, we have to understand the creation. Because when we know the creation, we will know the creator. You know, when you know who you are, then you will know that there is no difference between you and the energy that governs every single person on this planet or every single thing in this universe. So you are that energy that is everywhere. This entire universe is within you, and you are in this universe. There's no difference. When you know this, and how will you know this? So this kind of helped me to further deepen the knowledge through again people. Um, so I listened to Sati Maheshwari, and he talked about the sound of silence. He kind of brought it into my, understanding and my awareness. So I started I didn't listen, I don't listen to all the, I mean, I do listen to all the videos, but I didn't listen to most of the spiritual videos on his channel. But I completely kind of, meditate upon the sound of, because the sound of silence stays with every single person. There is a certain, it's not a sound because everything that is heard is through your ears. That is sound. But it's you can still experience it. When you're aware, there is a certain level of vibrations, that a thin line which you can hear, which you can experience. There's a thin line that when you're before sleep, or whenever you're in meditation, whenever there is silence, you can listen to that sound. There's a certain thin line that operates not only within me, but within every single person. He told that he asked his child, if he can hear the sound. And he said, yes, he can hear the sound. And from that very instant, he said that that was his kind of changing point, that it's so true. If you ask a child, can they experience God? And if they say yes, then that's the answer, right? For God, because God shouldn't be different for anyone, right? If there is one creator, then there is one creation. There is no difference between the creator and the creation, because without the creation, there is no creator, and without the creator, there is no creation. You know, so from the child being born, from the I feel you can, when you're aware of it, when you're aware of the sound that vibrates within you, the sound of Om, you can, this is the sound that has been talked about in all the scriptures, and the sound of Om. So this is the vibration. Even, NASA, it kind of, there was a whole news about it, that when the sun is rising, this vibrations that it creates are the sound of Om. The only things that we can actually utter from the mouth come from these three sounds, U, Ma, without the tongue. So everything that generates, everything that is created is actually from Om, which also has been proven in Ayurveda. It has been proven in all the ancient scriptures. And the sound of Om is within you. And how can you experience that? Through listening to a subtle line of, when you're aware to it, there is, you can do this, Nick, this even today when you going to sleep, just before sleep. Just be in the moment. Just be. Take a deep breath and just be. And don't try and listen to anything, because as soon as you try and listen to it, it won't come. You have to just be. That's it. When you are, you know, take a deep breath, and when you are just there, your awareness will become in contact with your through the Om sound will be revealed to your awareness. So in that revelation, you will experience the sound of Om. This sound is within every single person. There's a thin line. And this is nothing but God. And because it exists within me, it exists within you, this whole entire universe is vibrating on Om, the vibrations of Om. Now, I didn't know this. I kind of connected the dots between, you know, this is why I kind of learn from everything and learn from everybody. Um, I kind of had to connect the dots between Sandeep Maheshwari's work and the work in Ayurveda that has been written. So, so, um, and that helped me to kind of understand and form a foundation that this is it. This is all that I needed to know. Because if I'm created from Om, if I am consciousness, and the Om is consciousness, then there is no difference between my consciousness and your consciousness, and this entire world's consciousness. Water is just water. So the reality is, whether we find it to be true, again, if there's definitely, I'll take questions. Let's see, what's the time? Okay. So I'm happy to take questions. But before that, I'd just like to end with, meditate upon this sound. Meditate upon the vibrations. Because when you experience it, nothing will happen. Like, we think that we will have a big experience and that will lead us to enlightenment. That day may come, it may not come. It's different for everybody. And the people who say that I have had certain yogic experiences, I've met this, Baba, I have met this and this, I have experienced some enlightening, awakening, or, people getting initiated, they experience certain visual. But what will you do with that? What will you do with that experience? So, you don't need anything. That is the truth. You don't need anything. After you become enlightened, your life will just become simple. That's it. You will live on this planet. You will do that which comes from your true nature. You will become compassionate to every single person on this planet. There is no level of karmic account that will be created because you're free from everything that the mind creates, from everything that the body creates. From everything that is created, you are free because you are the creator itself. If you are the creation, you are the creator. And this is the level of understanding that if you become aware to it, you will go out, you will see that there is no difference between the cloud that is there in the sky and you, the leaf that is blowing in the wind and you. There is no difference. And that is the very moment when you experience that from without even trying to experience, you will experience it. There is no trying, you know. This is the art of effortlessness. Without effort, you achieve everything and anything that exists on this planet and that exists as the potential of a human being can achieve. And this is why we are a human being. This is why we live as a human and we're different from animals. It's because we can question, because we can understand, because we can experience to a level where we can become one with everything. And we are that very creation, and the creation is nothing but us. There is no difference. So I hope this discourse has helped you. And thank you so much, everybody, for attending. And I'm now open to questions, so you can ask questions. I will stop recording. Thank you so much, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful night. And yeah, I'm open to questions now.